Today's video is one I've wanted to make for a really long time. I wanted to dispel the myth that your strategists aren't healing you enough. A lot of times when I play strategists, and I have been lately because I really want to just play Rocket with my friend who plays Penny and do the team up, I have noticed a lot of people, DPS and tank players, who are spamming me for heals even after they've died. And the problem with this is a lot of times they're actively receiving heals at the time that they died, or somebody else was critical and I was healing them up because they were taking priority over you, or I was reloading at the time. There are a lot of different reasons as to why your support might not be healing you. They could be getting dove and they need to defend them. They could be helping their other support who's getting dove. They could be helping someone who's critical. They could be placing down a res station. They could be helping their teammates secure a kill. There are a lot of reasons as to why your strategists aren't healing you, but all too often people seem to think that they are the main character of their game, so much so that they don't think that using cover applies to them. And the team that uses their resources most efficiently is ultimately going to be the team that wins. If you've ever watched me play, you've probably noticed that I'm always encouraging you to peel for your supports or go back behind cover and stand still to receive healing to make it easier on them. This has helped me climb games even with not being the best player because of the fact that I am alive more often and I'm keeping my teammates alive more often, so that way we're just playing the game more efficiently. I am making their job easier and not expecting them to land every single shot on me, especially if I know that I have a Luna Snow. It's easier for me to stand behind cover and stand still so her shots are easier to hit versus wiggling back and forth even when you're in a safe position. There are a lot of little things that you can do to make your strategist lives easier, but a lot of the times the people who are expecting and very demanding of heals, I've noticed, don't understand the positional mistakes that they're making, and they don't understand that at times your team collectively is taking more damage than the healing can give you. And this is true a lot of times for any of the supports that you're playing. If you have two supports, the amount of healing that they can do probably isn't going to match the amount of damage that's coming from both the tanks and the DPS all at once. This is the reason why in hero shooters you have the term stabilize, because what stabilize means is that everybody needs to get to a safe place behind cover, regain your health before going back in, because once you die, that's a 30-second respawn before you're back, and then you're back in the fight. But because you can't just include the 10 seconds it takes to respawn, you have to include the amount of time it takes you to walk back into the fight. And even when you walk back into the fight, probably not in the best position to take the fight anyway. Whereas if you were alive, you could have taken 9 seconds to leave, grab a health pack and come back, or you could have taken time to stand still behind cover, get your health back up, and then go back in. There are more efficient ways to do this that make the game easier and make it more fun, because for me personally, the more time you're dead and the more time you're walking back from spawn, the less time you're ultimately playing the game. And I'm going to let some footage here in the background obviously play of all of the supports who are healing as much as they can, while the Punisher is only shooting shots at the chest, not counting any sort of crits. And you can see how most of the supports in the game can barely keep up with the Punisher's damage. At best, even under the most perfect conditions, the support is only able to break even what the Punisher is outputting in terms of damage. And this doesn't include crits, and this doesn't include other people that are shooting at him. This is the reason why that collectively as a team, you need to work together to try and minimize how much damage you're taking, and also trying to work together that when you are all critical and all low, that you prioritize staying alive using your resources, so that way the supports can have an easier job knowing, oh, I need to heal this person because this person's taking damage currently, but this person, even though they're critical, is still behind cover and they're still safe for now. This makes your job a lot easier and working together as a team a lot easier, because a lot of times the people I notice who are spam pinging for heals and blaming their supports have double-digit deaths. Meanwhile, on average, I have anywhere from 2 to 5 deaths on average a game across all of the heroes that I play, versus other accounts I see the average amount of deaths might be upwards to 9. I am in the game basically 2 to 3 times longer than a lot of the other players that I'm seeing who are complaining about their heals. And I don't just have better strategists every game. I legitimately play in a way that no matter what my strategist's skill level is, I'm doing the best I can to make their job as easy as possible. Now, with the way that the game works, there's also times where you need to understand that your healing output might not be as high as the enemy team's healing output. If the enemy team has a Cloak and Dagger and a Luna, there might feel like a lot of healing output, versus if you have a, Rocket and an Ultron. You need to change your playstyle based on the supports that you have and expect that there's going to be less healing. But there's also things that you can do, like when you separate away from a team where you're near your team and you're helping your team, but you're not standing directly next to your team, because AoE damage, like Squirrel Girl's Acorn, for instance, is a lot of damage to take. And when everybody's clumped up, you're taking more damage together. I always like to separate away from my team, both to create an off angle and try and apply pressure, but also because of the fact that now I'm taking less damage by not standing directly next to them. There are a lot of benefits to off angling, not just because of the fact that it helps create openings, but also because you're taking a lot less damage and you're being a lot less resource dependent on your team. Now, after all this talk, I'm going to go into one of the games that I played where my DPS were dying a lot and one of them was blaming the supports. I'm going to show you how no matter what happens, even with spamming heals at them the entire time, even if I changed the support I was playing, it wasn't going to keep this person alive anymore. Basically, it always comes down to the same thing of a positional mistake by my DPS and tank players and not based off of the healing output because they're actively getting healed usually when they die. Okay, here's a game where I was playing Rocket because I was having a lot of fun playing Rocket with my friend who really likes to play Penny. And I had a game where my DPS were dying quite a lot. And in fact, my entire team was dying quite a bit. But also, we had one DPS that was blaming the heals at the end of the game and eventually just sat AFK and spawn. And I'm not going to lie, I got tilted and I crashed out. But I figured this could still be used as a learning opportunity where I could show you why your team is taking too much damage. And it's not a problem of the supports, but a problem of your positioning and understanding how much damage is coming in and what to expect. So here to start off, we're just walking forward and I am just applying heals. I am playing safe until I understand what the enemy team comp is and just trying to make sure that we can walk forward and take the space first. So here I'm trying to apply heals and immediately as I see my teammates start to get critical, I throw my res station down as soon as possible so I can keep bouncing orbs and make sure that if anyone does die, they get resed immediately. The moment that I see that Hela gets low, I immediately start focusing hers because she's critical, so she takes priority. I'm applying heals to my team. The Venom dives in to try and make space. Magneto's trying to poke, and as you can see here, the Punisher is still going forward while the tanks are backing up. And as you can see in this moment, the moment that the DPS or any squishy character jumps in front of the tanks now will target that person entirely. Because of it, he ends up dying, despite the fact that if you look from my point of view, I am constantly shooting orbs directly his direction. Because of the fact that he stepped in front of the tanks, he wasn't using natural cover, he didn't have a way to get out without heals, he was naturally going to die. There isn't anything that any support in the game can do in that moment to keep that Punisher alive. He would have fallen over even if I had reloaded. So here, luckily, he gets the res, and because of the fact that my team has taken so much damage, I was the first person to get my ultimate. This happens a lot of times when your team is not outputting enough damage or when your team is just taking damage and not securing kills. So immediately, because I got my ult so quick, I wanted to take the chance and make a play. And because of it, luckily, with the damage boost, Punisher gets 2 really good kills off, and then he ults and he can walk in. Here, after we capped the point, we knew the Squirrel Girl was around, so we went looking for her, and luckily we ended up getting a quick pick on her, and we start pushing the payload forward. I'm applying heals to my team as they're walking forward, and the team is applying pressure. Here, Mag gets critical, so he hugs the wall here to the left to try and get cover and stabilize. I throw my res station down immediately because of the fact that I want to make sure that if anyone dies, we can use it right away. However, the moment I hear Supernova, I break it again and I leave it on a 5-second cooldown. This is because of the fact that there were so many of us clumped up that if Torch would have thrown his ult down in here, he would have destroyed it anyway. So I got rid of it myself to give it a 5-second cooldown. And when I knew that it was far enough back, I threw it a little bit farther back. So that way it wasn't going to get blown up by these fire tornadoes. Me applying heals, I don't know who's on the other side. I see that Hela becomes the next target, so she becomes my priority. I start throwing orbs her way. The moment that I know that she survived the burst from the Human Torch, I start applying heals towards the Punisher, who's out in the open here. And I see that there's now another person critical, right? But the problem I have in this situation is that the Punisher is taking damage and he's about to die from the Doctor Strange. And at the same time, Wendy, the other support here, is also about to die. This is what happens when you become too resource dependent on your strategists. When you become so dependent that you require heals all the time, it means that when your other allies need heals, I can't prioritize keeping them alive. So because of that, the Loki ends up dying, and now that he's critical once again, and these people are critical, I turn back to look at him again, and immediately he falls over. Now, if we look to see from the enemy's point of view in this moment, we can have the Punisher here, and we take a look at what the enemy sees, right? Magneto's looking at him. Doctor Strange isn't Cloak and Dagger's looking his direction, Human Torch is looking his direction, Bucky's looking his direction, and Invis Woman is looking his direction. So naturally, because of the fact that 5 people are looking his direction, he's just going to fall over and die. There isn't a single support that anyone can play that can stop 5 people's damage incoming all at the same time, right? And this is why I always am trying to encourage you guys to play with your strategies, to duck behind cover, stabilize, get healed, and then go back in and just kind of keep that cycle going, because of the fact that this Punisher now has to wait 10 seconds before respawning, and then after the 10 seconds he's got to spend another 20 seconds just getting back into the fight, and that's just getting to the fight. That doesn't mean you're getting into position. So dying takes a lot longer than simply just getting behind cover and restabilizing. So here I'm applying heals, and once again, because I got another ult, I decide to try and make a play still. Unfortunately, our Hela died right around the same time, but still, nonetheless, I see the Doctor Strange extended pretty far, so I'm trying to apply damage to him and also apply heals to our Venom, who unfortunately dies. I get hung up on the wall with the wall tech. The doesn't grab the wall, and I try to dash again. Doesn't work. But I just get someplace to stabilize. I'm launching heals towards my teammates who are taking all the damage. But you can see how as my Magneto was critical, he walked forward to try and take space. And the moment that he started to lose that space again, he started to back up and give it up to them. Because it's better for him to back up and give up that space, get healed back to full, than it is to die, respawn, and come back out again. So here, once again, I'm applying a bunch of heals. And because of the fact that Punisher is ulting, I'm launching my healing orbs directly at him and pocketing him. I get away because of the fact that I'm afraid Magneto might try to kill me, so I go back in once I know it's safe. And if you remember from the video earlier where Rocket was bouncing orbs at the ground to heal the Groot, bouncing orbs at the ground to heal people is actually one of the strongest ways that you can heal in this game to full. So to anybody who thinks like, oh, you need to switch off of Rocket, that's the reason why. That's not the reason why. You can get the most amount of heals out of this little guy more so than you could with Luna Snow or Cloak and Dagger. Here, because of the fact that I see that Hela is critical, I'm trying to launch orbs her way that maybe I can top her off a little bit. And the moment that I do that, my Punisher falls over and dies. This is one of the things that I talk about where if you are so dependent and relying on those heals all the time, that if I look away for a second and then you end up dying, there's nothing I could have done in that situation. He was in or had the Invisible Woman ult here, and he got knocked out by the Torch, who then got the kill on him, which was honestly just a really good play by the Torch. But I see that as an opportunity with the Invisible Woman ult from the copied Loki, and I use it as a chance to get a pick. And here, once again, we go back and see, why did he die? He got the res station, right? So here, he decides to walk directly at the Invisible Woman ult, right? There's no cover around. He's walking there. He can't see anything. But if we stop and we look to see what the enemy sees now, there are 3 people looking directly at him, and because of the fact that he wasn't just playing safe, taking his time and trying to wait out this Invisible Woman ult, he walks directly into a damage amplification with 3 people applying damage all at once. Even if me and Loki were looking at him at the same time, he was going to die regardless. There's nothing you can do in those instances. And I remember this moment too, because he was spam pinging heals even after he died, and he's been doing it for pretty much the entire game, and there's nothing I could have done. So here, once again, because my team is taking so much damage constantly, I'm using my ults off cooldown to try and make a play.
This is real firepower.
Applying pressure to the Strange and shooting the mag. I'm trying to make sure that I stand on the convoy because of the fact that it moves fastest, at the very least with one person. Hela dies here, but to be fair, if you didn't quite catch it, her bird started to go straight vertical. So I'm assuming that there's something happened that was weird and funky with the bird form, though. So I don't really think that was entirely on him. That bird can sometimes just do weird things.
Supernova!
Hearing the supernova, I start to back up and give up space so that way I can start applying heals to my team. Remember, Rocket's orbs move slower the closer they are to him, so I am trying to get away and not take any damage so I can apply heals. And you can see here, I'm keeping this area on my right as cover, so that way the enemy can't see me and I can keep applying heals to the rest of my team. Applying heals to everybody, even at the back. Here, because of the fact that he's out in the open, he's literally inside of the Human Torch's ult, and he's inside of the Bucky ult, so because of that, Meg has to use the bubble on him in order to keep him alive, with constant healing as well. He is absorbing all of the resources on the team, which also means because of the fact that He needs to use his bubble defensively like that. Mag can't use it to push forward. He can't use it to save someone else. This is why it's not just about how much damage you're taking, but by hogging resources from the rest of your team, it also means they can't use those resources to make plays. The more resource dependent you are and the more of that main character syndrome that people get, the more they become dependent on the fact that everything revolves around them. And if it doesn't work out with them, the game is just going to end and you're going to lose. And whichever team uses these abilities and these resources more efficiently is eventually going to be the one that wins. So here I'm applying heals while the Bucky ult was up to try and make sure he doesn't get the reset. I'm trying to make sure we keep everyone up. Unfortunately, Loki died to the Human Torch. And because of the fact that we're now down a support, we see that both tanks are low and half health, and I am applying heals, being the only solo support left right now. What we need to do is stabilize before we can go back in. And as the tanks are backing up, for whatever reason, our Hela is walking forward. She's walking in front of the tanks. And just like the Punisher did earlier, where he walked directly in front of the tanks, now the Hela has 5 people directly facing at her, and she dies instantaneously, staggering us even longer. This is the kind of thing that I'm talking about, where it's not a strategist or a support problem or even what supports they're picking. If a squishy character jumps in front of 5 people, they're going to die. That's just what's going to happen. Here, because of the fact that I wasn't standing next to my team and I was standing farther away, I was the only one not hit by the Agamotto. This is the problem with grouping up and clumping up next to each other. I try to throw my ult out to try and keep people alive and make another play, and unfortunately, it's not enough to keep people alive. So maybe for the future, if there's an Eye of Agamotto, I'm not sure if I should use it. Here, I'm keeping my teammates alive. I'm trying to just stabilize as Human Torch is focusing me. And as you can see, though, even though he's focusing me, I'm staying alive and I don't need the help of my support to constantly heal me. She's focusing on other people because I have good positioning, because I can dodge the torch on my own, which allows my team to get the kill on him. I'm trying now to heal my Magneto, and unfortunately, he takes too much damage and dies. Here, Venom makes a mistake where he does get out, he does back up, but he's critical, right? He's critical and we're already down our other tank. What he needs to do is get behind cover, sit there and let me heal him to full and stabilize him before going back in. Because right now he's going in there critical while Hela has no shield. She's out in the front. Punisher's got no shield, no cover. She's half health. Everybody is low all the time. This is the reason why I've been charging my rocket ult so much all game. There hasn't been a single person that's been using cover and they're not getting behind cover and staying there to stabilize. So I'm just healing so much that naturally I'm going to get a bunch of support ults. This is also the reason why when we look at damage after the game, like, yes, your damage numbers might be high, but if you're not securing final hits, it means you're charging support ults and making the lives of other people more difficult. Here, because Punisher was ulting, Magneto ulted and we're popping heals at him, and I also kept healing during the Magneto ult because I figured he wasn't going to stop shooting, so the best bet was to try and blow up the Mag ult, and luckily it worked. Here, I was going to try and get away, maybe place the res station, but I saw Cloak and Dagger ult, so I was like, screw it, I'm going to go back in. I was launching heal orbs because I couldn't see exactly what was going on, and now that the Inviswoman ult is gone, I'm going to throw down my res station, and because of the fact that Strange is pressured and super low, I go up top to try and help secure the kill. And luckily we end up picking him off as well. Here we're applying heals and we're just trying to take space and try and prevent them from coming out the door.
There's still a chance to stop them.
Here I've got my ult again. And as they're holding the space here and I see Doctor Strange coming out, I ult early because of the fact that I'm not using my ult in a defensive way. I'm using my ult to try and help secure the kills on the tanks coming out one at a time quickly, because I can see Doctor Strange's plan. He wants to come out, sit on the payload and stall it and wait for and create enough time for his team to come out or for a support ult to build up and come out. So because of that, I ult early to try and make sure we can kill him quicker. And he falls over, and because of it, Meg falls over as well. That way we were able to secure the point with just my ult and the Venom ult. Here, once again, I'm applying a bunch of heals, just trying to sit on the payload, trying to keep it moving faster. Right now, as you can see as well, my res station is up. One of the problems with people who take too much damage is that you don't even give your strategist time to reload, let alone to go and set up the res station in a good spot. So here, because of the fact that I am so rushed for time all the time because they're constantly critical, I try to rush throwing my res station down, and unfortunately it pops up here, which isn't a good place I want to leave it because they could be coming down this pathway. I wanted to throw it in the room, but I didn't have time to change my mind there because of the fact that this team just takes too much damage collectively.
I'll patch you up.
Here, because he's ulting, I am just applying heals. The damage I'm going to do at this range isn't going to do anything, especially compared to the Punisher ult, so I am just trying to do my best to apply heals, because even through Supernova, the Human Torch's ult, you know, people could die and fall over. So I'm trying to do my best just to keep people topped off. As Bucky ults, I'm trying to apply heals and focus on that to keep people up so that way he doesn't get the reset. And everybody's low, everybody's critical, and even with us constantly applying heals, and Cloak is now completely cut off, we end up losing 3 of our allies. Now in this point, it's time to get out, right? But as our Punisher sees people even dying directly in front of him, instead of backing out and resetting, he's staying in front. So the moment I reload here and I start to heal, he's taking more damage. Magneto, I know, was trying to get out, but he ended up getting stuck on the geometry. Punisher got out too late, and because he got out too late, he ends up getting pulled, damage amplified, and hit by Magneto all at once. Once again, if I was playing Luna, Cloak and Dagger, or Invis Woman, it doesn't matter. People taking that much damage all at once are naturally just going to fall over and die. There's no support I could switch to in the game that's going to help a player like this stay alive against a much better and much more well-coordinated team that's playing around cover. So here, I get out, and I'm waiting for my team to reset. And mind you, I haven't died a single time this game, which is the reason why I've been able to get so many ults and get so many ults, use so many ults offensively. Here I see the torch, and because of it, I use my wall dash to try and get away. I keep myself alive. I'm keeping an eye out for him. I'm applying heals. I put my res station in here because of the fact that Torch was contesting that side to my right. Once again, because I have my ults and I have charged so many of them, I'm just going to use them off a cooldown. Here with the enemy support ult going off, I know nothing's really going to die, so I'm just prioritizing keeping everyone up and outweighting the ult. With the damage amplification, I'm shooting orbs at the ground to try and keep us up. Hearing the Doctor Strange ult, I immediately get to a wall and try and shoot myself up to safety. So now I can be shooting orbs directly down at the feet of my allies. Seeing that Cloak and Dagger is critical, I first prioritize keeping her alive. And now I'm playing around cover. Cloak and Dagger ults, and unfortunately Mag gets a really nice ult directly threading the needle through the doorway. And as Punisher is ulting, I'm prioritizing healing him with bouncing orbs off the ground so he gets the maximum effect. And luckily we're able to start pushing through. Trying to top off my teammates the best I can. Seeing that my res station is back up, I get my my BRB station up to the top left here. If you didn't see my map guide, this is an area that you can actually access, and I've wish I would have gotten up there a bit sooner so that way Bucky wouldn't have seen it. But I do believe that area is going to be a good spot to keep res stations or even go up as a hit scan later. So here I'm applying heals, and luckily they mess up and they don't touch. Res station was even still alive. As you can see, a lot of the times when people died, it was because of the fact that they were taking damage from multiple sources at once, as well as eating up multiple resources from the enemy, or taking multiple resources from the enemy, especially with the damage amplification or the pull from Invisible Woman. If you are not playing in a way where you can get to cover and stabilize, you're going to die at some point because of the enemy team, who is much better coordinated and using positioning much better. This is the point where if you have two people who are standing in the open, whoever is mechanically better, who can aim better and shoot faster, is going to win that encounter. However, the person who knows how to play around cover and use that to their advantage is going to beat anybody who's mechanically better who doesn't know how to use that stuff. So here on defense, I'm going to position myself really far away, because on defense, my primary goal is to just make sure I stay alive and my teammates stay alive. I don't need to play up front to try and make a play. So I'm going to sit back here and just apply heals. and wait to see what the enemy team comp is. The other goal, or the other good part about sitting so far back, is that I can watch the left side in case anybody tries to flank. I can also watch the right side in case anybody tries to flank. And if I need to, and I need to get away, there's a health pack over there for me, and I have my res station over here on the left. Sitting back this far has a lot of benefits if you are playing on defense as a support. You're also much more difficult to hit. And as you can see, once I start to take too much damage, I get behind cover and I can stay alive. This is why positioning is more important than aim. Here, I'm applying heals both to the people in front as well as the people down below. As Punisher gets critical, I start applying heals to him. The damage amplification to everyone here in main makes me a little bit worried, so I start applying even more heals. Right now, we have a group, we have a penny, so we don't have a whole lot of ways to block the damage incoming. Here, knowing that there's people on the right, I'm applying heals to the Punisher. As I see him taking out the Psylocke, I'm prioritizing him because I know he's in a duel with someone, and with those heals, he's naturally going to win that duel. Going back up to my position to play safe, I'm applying heals to the rest of my team. Here, once again, because of the fact that my team is so good at taking damage, I have my ult, 23% faster than my Cloak and Dagger does even, and even faster than the enemy team, which means that they're outputting damage faster than we are. And more efficiently too, which means they're probably playing around cover. So here, Groot is getting low, so I ult to try and keep him alive. Trying to apply damage, and now I'm just trying to prioritize staying alive because of the fact that I can't really kill anything with the Cloak and Dagger ult, and I'm just trying to make sure that my teammates stay alive as well. Hearing him ult, I try to prioritize healing him. Our Cloak and Dagger ults. And unfortunately, I hear the Mag ult, and Punisher dies anyway, but not much you can really do there against fully charged up Mag ult. Luckily, we're playing... we used our Cloak and Dagger ult after the Invis ult, so we are able to turn the fight around.
Yeah, what an upgrade.
There, I throw my res station down to test something because I realized that once you drop the res station and you blow it up right away, it still leaves mines behind. So, interesting thing to learn. So here I'm applying heals to Groot, and as you can see, he's taking a lot of damage. And right here, as he's taking even more damage, and he takes a damage amplification, he is out in the open. And with right now, both me and Cloak and Dagger are looking at him. But if we look to see from the enemy's point of view, he doesn't have anywhere to go in case things get bad, which right now things are getting bad. And because of it, because he's blinded and he's taking extra damage, he's eating all of this damage from the Punisher turret. And instead of backing up and stabilizing, he walks forward and then ends up dying. Now, there's no way for him to help defend this point. When in all actuality, if all he did was give up space temporarily and try and find cover and let me heal him back to full and wait out the damage amplification, he might have survived. Here, Hell is too far away for me to do anything, so I just prioritize trying to keep my team alive. But unfortunately, because the Punisher isn't ever playing around cover, he just is going to die. I heal myself back up to full, and I try to apply heals to my tanks to stall for longer, but there's just too much damage coming out. Had the Groot not died, maybe someone else could have gotten the res station. I think he might have gotten the res station. But now we're back on point. We're just trying to stall for as long as we can. But there's ultimately just too much damage coming up. I try to hop off to make a play by jumping in the portal and jumping back in, but it doesn't work. A lot of times what you're noticing is that even in those situations like there with the Groot, with both supports looking at him and applying heals, he was always going to die. And anytime that happens to you in game or your allies, that's what you call a positional mistake. If you aren't able to use cover, where even if two supports are healing you and you die afterwards, it means you messed up so bad that you ended up costing your team, basically losing that next fight because of the fact that you took too much damage and fell over. So here, I'm just trying to stabilize and get my team up. I throw my ult down because of the fact that I heard Punisher ult and I saw Invis Woman ult, so I thought to myself, oh, if we double up Punisher and Rocket ult, then he could probably kill through a lot of the support ult. But I didn't hear in that moment that Cloak and Dagger ulted, which then caused us to double support ult. But we gotta try and get kills as soon as we can, so we're applying this kind of pressure. And unfortunately, Hella was in a hidden spot there and got really nice picks on us. And then our Bucky, instead of backing up, you know, seeing people die, went in and died as well. Throwing down the res station to try and keep everyone alive, or trying to res someone back up in case they die. And here, once again, as Hella is ulting and as I'm applying heals, instead of Groot trying to get to a safe spot to stabilize, he walks back in after getting healed a little bit and then immediately falls over and dies because of the fact that if we go back and look again from the enemy's perspective, how many people are looking directly down this alleyway here and directly down at Groot, right? You see all of the damage flying directly at one person. Even if both of us supports who are currently launching orbs in his direction are healing him, it's not going to matter because once you are taking damage from that many people all at once, you're going to die. This is why it's so important to remember that your supports need to reload, or there might be too much damage coming in, or that the strategists aren't supposed to be playing around, you know, around how much damage you're going to take or trying to output more damage. You're supposed to be playing around using cover and using your resources to get yourself out. And if you're expecting heals to keep you up all the time, naturally you're going to become more frustrated and you're going to die a lot more because of the fact that the heals can't outdo that much damage that's coming out all at once. So here, once again, we're just taking a bunch of damage. Bucky ults into them and he dies instantly. And now my team is split as I'm trying to apply heals to them. I get back to safety because I was always mindful of cover and my health packs. Once I'm back to full, I should go back out and my teammates are dying and there's nothing I can do here. At this point, it's just a regroup type of situation. I get out and I leave. I probably should have wall boosted on the wall there, or wall dashed. I am just trying to heal myself as I wait for my teammates. And you can see here how even though I know where the Hella is, I'm not walking out into the open. I'm mindful of where I can use cover and use it to my advantage to keep myself alive. So even though she's hitting me, I know she's not going to kill me. I'm never actually worried. So here I'm applying heals. Hopefully we can get back up. I try to throw the red station back up there. It doesn't work. End up missing. And because of the fact that, once again, my team is taking so much damage, I'm feeling like I need to rush a lot of these things because of the fact that the moment I look away, people tend to fall over. So I got my ult once again. I'm being prepared to use it. And as we're waiting in this moment, because of the two supports, both of us supports had ults at the same time last time, I had told Cloak and Dagger, I was like, you go ahead and ult first. And then I think she took that as I'll ult right now, which I was not thinking of. And unfortunately, because of that, she ends up dying. I throw down my ult with the right before the Punisher throws out his ult, so he just melts through it. Now we're down 2 support ults as they're walking forward, and I'm trying to apply heals to the rest of my team, but there's nothing I can do now. Seeing that we don't have any support ults and my team is going to get pressured by this Hella, instead of prioritizing healing, I wanted to kill the Hella first because of the fact that if she lives in this ultimate the entire time, she's just going to melt through our team anyway. So I took the chance to try and kill her first and burn her. I ended up doing a pretty decent job at it, and then unfortunately the Punisher ends up killing me. I did what I could, but a lot of the times when you're seeing people fall over, it's not because they're not getting healed. In fact, there's times where they're getting healed by both supports at once and they still end up dying. So I hope this is helping dispel the myth and the misconception that your strategists aren't doing well or they're not playing the right supports. Because like I showed you earlier, even when Rocket is bouncing orbs at the ground, he's actually doing more healing than a lot of the other supports were. But even with doing that, people were still falling over and blaming the fact that I was on Rocket for the reason why we weren't doing well. I would show you the rest of this match, but honestly, there's nothing really to see as, once again, my team continues to fall over. They continue to take too much damage, and in this situation as well, once again, because my entire team is all grouped up, they're all taking damage from the same place. Nobody's trying to take an off angle. Nobody's trying to separate or stand behind cover. We're just taking too much damage. Naturally, they just die a lot. And then in the last round here, we try to hold, but my teammate ended up going AFK. And then I'm not gonna lie, I really crashed out on him there for throwing and blaming the supports and strategists that game. But if you look and see at the very end of the game here, my DPS have 18 deaths and 12 deaths. And meanwhile, I have 5. My other support has 8. My tank has 9. We weren't having the same difficulties they were. And so when you see that, especially when someone is dying so much, that's a sign. When you're dying more than everyone else, that's a sign that you're making a lot of positional mistakes. Now I'm going to go into another game where I have Rocket and Mantis heals as I'm on Groot and show you how I play around the supports that I have for that game rather than expecting them to change. Okay, so here's a game where I got stuck on tank and a lot of the tanks were banned, so I decided to go with Groot and see how it would go. And mind you, I don't have that many games on Groot, right? But in this game, I realized that we had a Mantis and a Rocket Raccoon. Mantis heals are some of the lowest in the game, and it's very difficult to, even after the change, after the most recent changes, she still doesn't apply a lot of heals even to tanks. So I am keeping that in mind as I go forward in this game. By the way, this is on defense. For time's sake, I'm not going to show you the entire round on offense, but the entire round on offense we went through, we capped the 3rd point, and I have 0 deaths, despite the fact that we've had Rocket Mantis the whole game. So here I am focusing on trying to hold down the convoy, applying damage. And here, once I start to see myself getting walled off, I bring up another wall to give myself cover, and I'm trying to get myself back to this corner over here, or back to this little opening. I'm trying to apply pressure and block off his heals because of the fact that I know that I already have low heals already, so I'm going to try and limit the amount of heals that he's receiving. Once I start to take too much damage, because I'm positioned so smartly next to this wall here, for 2 reasons. 1, it's a use of natural cover to try and get away from damage, and 2, if something were to happen and I need to retreat, this right here is the shortest path between me and the exit of where I want to go, and I can cut through here to use this as cover, so I don't have to entirely walk down main out in the open, especially up against the enemy DPS who are shooting down main at the moment. So here, as I start to take too much damage, I get inside and I stabilize. I'm trying to apply pressure from just the Groot who I can see here, but also keep the out of the LOS of the DPS over here. Because I'm requiring fewer resources, I'm not hogging them, I'm not critical, I'm not in danger, other people who are in danger can start to use them more, or the people who are currently taking damage. So there, once again, I'm trying to separate the team off. I'm trying to block off his heals. And unfortunately, because we lost 1 tank and they started to push me, I'm still playing around all of these walls, all these corners. I'm grabbing health packs and I'm trying to stay alive. You can see that even though we've lost we've lost our teammates, I am absorbing a lot of damage and staying alive a really long time, despite me being stuck. So fast forward a bit here then. You can see how my teammates are, we're losing some already, but I'm moving up to start walling off. I see the Groot in a position where I can easily wall him off because of the bust. This is one of the things that I don't really understand why a lot of people have trouble with Groot, is that you need to understand that he's always going to be trying to put off walls to wall you off in these positions. So the solution around this is to not chase for kills that you're not 100% confident you're going to be able to get and get out. So because of it, I walled him off and we start attacking him to kill him. Seeing that we got a kill on the Groot and the 3 squishies were all clumped up, I go for an ult on the people directly in front of me. And now we chase for the cleanup. I missed my right click because I'm bad. And once again, if we compare the 2 supports on each team, I have a Rocket and a Mantis. They have a Luna and a Cloak and Dagger. In most people's perception, that team should naturally win. They have higher heals. So with that naturally higher healing output and better ultimates, they should be winning. But because of the fact that I understand that my heals are low, my damage is going to be high on this team. So what I need to do is play a lot more safe rather than playing aggressive.
I am ready to put on.
So here, once again, because of the fact that now Luna ults to try and make a play and get us to move in, I put the wall up to use it as cover. Then I back up to buying myself that time to sit around the payload. I put up another wall to try and wall off some of the damage that's incoming, and I'm using this ambulance here as a means of cover to try and avoid and wait out the Punisher ult. We are temporarily giving up space because of the fact that we lack the sustain and the support ultimates to be able to counter right back. So when you lack those things, what you want to do is just wait them out as best you can and try and survive. And as you can see, as they start to rotate around the pillar there, we start to rotate with them to just try and cut them off. Seeing Spider-Man there, I see that he's an easy pick. I see now the supports. I see that the convoy is moving as well, so I start targeting them and the squishy's there. And here, as I'm taking damage, I am now getting behind this convoy as I reload in order to use it as cover. I get stuck there trying to apply walls because once again, I don't know how to play group, so I'm making this up as I go. Rocket ults when we really didn't need to, but it's okay. We're securing the kills. And now Hulk is down as well. So now the enemy team is regrouping once again.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
I get ulted by Spider-Man, which is totally pointless. Here I'm just applying pressure, trying to build my ult up. I'm trying to wall off the heals so I can kill the group. Luckily there, Squirrel Girl ends up killing the Cloak and Dagger right as she ulted. Because once again, what this team lacks in sustain makes up for in the amount of damage that they have. So I'm playing around that in mind just by trying to play safe and not throw by being in a position I can't get myself out of on my own for the most part. Punisher out in the open, so they're just continuing to stagger themselves at this point. At this point, I am just putting my walls up, trying to get creative about where the enemy team is going to pop out. But luckily, they try to get through, but Squirrel Girl holds them at their spawn. So we ended up winning this game, but naturally, because of the fact that we have a Rocket and a Mantis, other people might have just continued to walk in the open, stand down main, taken so much damage that they eventually died, and they would have lost the game and blamed the supports. In this situation, I was playing around what my supports were and what the enemy supports were. I knew that the enemy was going to be able to out-sustain if we got into a brawl that was just a rock'em sock'em battle. So I didn't want to take that battle. So what I wanted to do is try and play to my team's advantages and their strengths, which is the damage and output that we had, with Mantis being able to apply more damage and also having a bit of a faster ult charge as well. So I am playing around the idea that I need to use cover and wait for my team to get a pick by buying them that time, because naturally we should be getting more picks and applying more damage than the enemy team. But this is what I mean when I say that, you know, it's not about your strategist not being good enough. I always have the same strategist as everyone else, but I always have fewer deaths than everyone else. I'm alive more often. I can contest the objective more. I can peel more often. I can help destroy destructibles with turrets and clones and everything else. Because I'm alive more often, I can provide value that isn't just getting kills. And that's something I really want to stress to people, is that no matter what game I'm in, even though my supports are the same as everyone else, I always see those same people who expect healing nonstop and expect all the resources to complain that they're not getting enough heals. When in all actuality, if you're standing in the open, no cover, and you get shot by 5 people at once, there's nothing in the world that's going to save you. So I hope by watching this video and showing you the difference between how other people play, what I'm seeing from the strategist perspective, but also how I play, you know, on the opposite end, playing as a tank and seeing what supports I have, you can see that it's not about the strategists you have on your team, but it's about how you play around them and how you play around the enemy teams and how you position. So I hope this has been helpful. I know this one is a bit longer, but it's something I really wanted to do for a really long time, because of the fact that this is probably one of the most common mistakes I'm still seeing these days, of teams as a whole just taking too much damage. There's a reason why the term stabilize was created, and it's because of the fact that at some point your team collectively is going to take too much damage and more damage than the enemy team is taking, and you need to back up and give up space, stabilize, and then go back in. Just the same as you would do that as a team, you do that as an individual as well. And remember, the resources in the bottom right-hand corner are the only things that you can rely on. Your allies' resources are not yours. You don't get to choose how they get to use them. So always play around the idea that you're only having your resources to get yourself out. If you play that way, you're going to survive a lot more, and you're going to have much fewer deaths. You're going to have much greater uptime. You're going to have much greater impact on your games. Anyway, I know that was a long one, but thank you for watching. And yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments.